Hello and welcome back, my Royal Rogues. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue, and we have news about the coronation, specifically King Charles' worries about certain details that you're about to find out. But first, I didn't know college pastel look was a thing. I had an era of Maruchan, a Maruchan era. You have to eat something fast, but I didn't know that there was people that had a Maruchan hair era or face. I don't know how to put this, but it's I guess as Resting Doll Face says about talking about styling and fashion. Saw this and you're all thinking it too. Coming soon. These shoes look really uncomfortable, but at the same time, they grab attention. And yes, you know that we know many people that like to grab attention for many reasons. And speaking or not speaking of the Sussexes, I was not speaking about Meghan or Harry specifically, of course. Courtney picked up an interesting new book today. Oh my God, revealing Britain's systemic racism. And it's on discount. A heavy discounted sticker is right on Gingerbread's face. So funny. And I'm not interested in reading that book either. And in bargain DVDs, thanks to Pufiel on Reddit, Royal Wedding Collection, 3 movies inside of Meghan Markle for $2. Just $2. This is the kind of things that no matter how cheap they are, you are not gonna buy them. Yeah, that's why they are in the bargain bin. Princess Pear Jr., Miss Jensen, at my cheap community shop 2 years ago, crates of teen shortbread biscuits. Last week, they still had 10 boxes left for 1.5 at 10. Oh my God, get yours now. Get yours now. And some things, before we get into the topic, one thing that caught my attention this morning when I wake up was Robert Jobson deleted his Twitter. Royal editor Robert Jobson was nowhere to be found on Twitter after he made a joke. You know that episode of Michael Jackson with his baby and the balcony when he was showing the baby to reporters, and he did this. I'm not. This was cringe. It was terrible, horrible. And nobody has forgotten that. And Robert Jobson talking about Archie, the coronation, King Charles, the balcony, made that joke, and he was absolutely destroyed by the Sussex Squad. I've been destroyed by the Sussex Squad before. I have never made jokes like this. I will never make jokes like this with children. I would never make jokes about bodily harm. And well, there you have it. I think you have to be more careful, especially when you're trying to improvise humor live, because you know that the internet never forgets. And this is what we got today. This is about nervousness. This is about Tom Bauer making those claims. And some fans of King Charles are upset with this. And some say, well, we defended and we were happy with Tom Bauer when he wrote Revenge, the true story of Meghan and Harry and the monarchy. So we should at least listen to his opinion in this case. But I have something to say about his opinion here. Tom Bauer, King Charles fears slightest coronation mishap could overshadow his reign. A monarch has never felt so vulnerable. What's this all about? Cultivating the perfect image across the globe has provoked Charles to re-scrutinize every detail of the ancient ritual. The king started planning his coronation more than 20 years ago. Wow, that's really long, 2 decades. Seated on the oak coronation chair commissioned by Edward I in 1296, Charles will be anointed king with special oils prepared in the Holy Land, under a canopy of golden cloth held by 4 Garter knights. Now, this is something that I came up with. According to The Sun, Charles started planning his coronation 20 years ago. Queen Elizabeth II was 76 at the time, so Charles is 74 now. By that logic, should William start planning his coronation as well? Well, I had some really good responses to this. One was from Barrister Law USA. Actually, Jesus, he already started before Her Majesty the Queen died. William met with the Queen to discuss it and plan it. That's part of the continuity of the crown. Charles' funeral is also planned, and so is William's coronation. And then this is my take. If coronations are planned so much in advance, then why is King Charles allegedly so overwhelmed by so many details? Legit question. I understand times change, so you need to adapt. Then the planning decades in advance sounds a bit overkill. I would love to know what you think about this in the comments. I'm sure that this can spark a nice conversation. In previous centuries, that solemn ceremony was critical for the monarch's survival, with barons and knights gathered in Westminster Abbey to pledge their loyalty to the new sovereign. Even today, the monarchy's existence still depends on public approval, and I have a word to say about this. And never before in recent history has a new sovereign, at 74, the oldest ever to be crowned, needed the coronation and the festivities over the 3 days starting on May 6th to seal public acceptance of his reign. And the words I want to say are based on George Wilhelm Hegel, one of my favorite philosophers, about this very topic. Hegel believed that public opinion was crucial for the legitimacy of a monarch. He thought that the monarch's power had to be based on the recognition and approval of the people, rather than on force or coercion alone. Now, that makes sense because I don't think that any king nowadays can exert their power with force or coercion. It has to be much more subtle. He or she needs to get the approval, to earn the approval of the country, of his subjects. Hegel believed that a monarch who was in tune with the public sentiment could act as a unifying force, promoting the common good of the society. I'm talking about this in terms of leadership, how it's important for perception, to have this perception of King Charles as a strong, unifying leader. In Hegel's view, the legitimacy of a monarch depended on the monarch's ability to represent and reflect the will of the people. That is much more important than trying to exert power in itself, because we are at an era of humanity that is much more subtle than that. So you can imagine that's one of the reasons King Charles is so obsessed with the perception of his reign. It makes sense. Nothing Charles knows. Now, I find the following paragraphs a bit exaggerated on Bauer's side. Now, let's read them. Nothing Charles knows could be worse than 1 billion viewers across the world watching the king trip on a step or allow the crown to unmajestically tilt. Not only must Charles' performance reinforce the monarchy's importance and popularity, but he knows that the impressions of that day will be used by future historians as their foundation to judge King Charles III's reign. I think this is too much. I think this is a stretch to think that if the king or anybody trips that day or something goes off schedule, I don't know, then his entire reign, years from now in the future, will be judged for that. I think that is nonsense. I think that doesn't work like that. I don't think that the reign of Elizabeth II, Queen Elizabeth II, will be judged heavily for whatever happened on her coronation day, because there must have been things that were not going on a schedule or did not work like they were planned. But the 70 years of reign weigh so much more than that day. We know that Charles is not going to have 70 years of reign, but either way, I don't think that has that much of an impact. Well, if you are superstitious or very superstitious, it will have an impact. But more important, he remains undecided about who should be included in the processions and even who should be invited. So that's my question. If this was planned so much in advance, why so much indecision? While his mother trumped her reign's multiple indignities and embarrassments, not least her children's divorces, the mishandling of Diana's death and Prince Andrew's shame by relying on the public's love of their monarch, Charles understandably fears the precariousness of public opinion. And in this case, well, Queen Elizabeth had decades of reign before these scandals exploded. So she had plenty of time to gain the respect of her subjects. It's like King Charles is just getting started, and everybody's talking about all the worst that had happened, the worst aspects of his personality. I don't think that is fair in many ways. Every single person evolves through their lives. We evolve through our lives in a way that, well, we expect that them to be positive. Bauer pulls the dagger a bit forward, not astute enough to create illusions or to resist rancor. Charles, as Prince of Wales, lacked his mother's genius for concealing what she truly felt. And this is the thing. I think this is the angle that Meghan has learned to exploit. Let's think before Brexit. Maybe Charles has had these conversations with Harry even before meeting Meghan. He had these conversations with Harry. He opened up to Harry and opened up with his fears, with his concerns and everything. And once Harry met Meghan and one day got married, he shared these concerns. He shared these vulnerabilities with her, and she devised a plan, as she has done many ways in every single iteration of her own reinventions. And how could Harry use that to manipulate his father? And let's make it clear. Let's be clear about something. Harry wants freedom. Harry wants no part on this, on the royal life or anything. If it was for him, he will be happy with a life full of privacy. But at the same time, he has to make money. And to make money, he has to offer something of value. He has to work. And Harry, it seems that it doesn't go well with him. So what is left? Be a professional victim. Meghan knows how to weaponize him. He knows that the only thing that he has left to do is to keep, nagging Charles in ways to keep steering the public opinion so they can have a platform, so they can get all these contracts running. And yeah, it's sick, but it's the only way they have of earning money. It's the only way. Professional victimhood. So that's why I think these fears of Charles, of wanting to control all these details of the coronation, of being a bit insecure about everything, maybe a bit superstitious about that could be exploited. Harry has, I don't think Harry is a puppet. Harry is doing it on purpose. Harry is completely clear about he is doing, but he feels like he doesn't have another option, because the other option will be actually getting a job or working as something, or at least being an influencer and not a professional victim, at least at the very least. So my suggestion to King Charles is this. To be fair to Charles, he will be the first king in history to be crowned when internet memes are our main way of storytelling. He should just embrace the fact that no matter what happens at the coronation, memes are coming. So we know that the coronation will be a big day, and it will officially kickstart his reign. But sometimes you have to realize that no matter how much you prepare, how much you plan, one thing here and there can go wrong, and that is nothing to be ashamed of or worried about. So now it's your turn. I would like to know what you think about this. Is King Charles right in being worried about all these details of the coronation? Will any tiny detail of the coronation, any memes from the coronation impact all his reign in the future? Let me know what do you think about this in the comments. My Royal Rogues, my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue, and until we meet on another video or another live, remember the two most important words: much love and bliss.